And the Met has launched an investigation into claims that Prince Andrew recruited the force to dig up dirt, really, on his accuser, Virginia Giuffre. So this investigation is ongoing into reports that Andrew used one of his taxpayer-funded bodyguards for an attempted smear campaign against Virginia. Is that right?
I know. Well, that's the allegation. It's a very, very serious allegation, but it's also quite disgusting that he was apparently going to these lengths using taxpayer-funded palace security to dig up dirt, dig up her social security number, her date of birth, and find out anything he could to try and discredit a woman who, of course, he still denies ever meeting in person, despite the photographic evidence to the contrary, and denied that he ever sexually abused her. And, of course, Virginia took her own life in April. And it was such a tragic end to a terrible life for her. And down the line now, the repercussions are being felt very much, I think, by a lot of people.
Let's talk about Fergie and what's going to happen with her, because the reports are that King Charles has vowed to protect Beatrice and Eugenie, whereas Fergie, Sarah Ferguson, faces life without her title, Duchess of York. Of course, she agreed not to use it after Prince Andrew relinquished his Duke title after the ongoing fallout with Jeffrey Epstein. But what's going to happen with Fergie?
Well, I think what's happened with Andrew losing his title and now her losing Duchess of York, it just proves that the York brand is totally toxic within the royal circles. And yes, I've read that Charles will somewhat try and ring fence Beatrice and Eugenie as his nieces, because they shouldn't pay for the sins of the parents, clearly, but I wouldn't expect them to have any front and centre row. Don't expect to see them on the palace balcony for any kind of fly past or anything anytime soon. I don't think he's going to throw them under a bus, but at the same time, he's not going to be putting them forward when William's reign is very much going to be a very streamlined monarchy, I think. But it's just amazing that I think Fergie and Andrew have become so undone by their devotion to Jeffrey Epstein. It just beggars belief. And Fergie has survived so many scandals over the years, and in recent times, in fact, a lot of that to do with her Australian connections has sort of been somewhat rehabilitated. I sensed a real sort of renewed affection for her, that, you know, she's been a victim in the past, and the toe sucking and the scandals and the royal things, everything else that has gone wrong, it really hadn't been her fault. Deep down, she's a decent person. I think the line was crossed, though, when that email was revealed that she was calling Epstein a treasured friend. And I don't think even her most diehard fans are going to stand by her when she's endorsing a pedophile in that way. So I think that was the end for her.
Yeah,
really.
you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
What about Meghan and Harry? Because there are reports that Prince Harry, Meghan Markle and their children could be set to lose their royal titles if and when Prince William becomes monarch. Do you think that's what... Well,
I do. I really do feel it will happen, and I think it's important to note that it won't be a revenge play by William. It's very much a reforming play, because when he is King William V, when his father passes on, he's the monarch, he's more aware than anyone, I think, that the monarchy and the royal family have to provide value to the taxpayer and also the Commonwealth as well. That it's not, we don't just keep the royal family because we've always had the royal family. They very much have to prove their worth, and he wants to, you know, really push aside anyone who's been freeloading or using their titles for commercial gain. And we know the late Queen had said to Meghan, you know, forbade her from using the HRH title. And of course, Meghan's just blithely got ahead and done that and tried to commercialise it wherever she can. But it's a reform play by William. I think he just wants to keep it a very tight monarchy, but also he wants to reward the people who do actually do the work and do it quietly without any fanfare. Princess Anne is a perfect example of that.
And I think there'd be plenty of support to see Prince Harry and Meghan Markle lose those titles.
Well,
now, Meghan Markle's very short-lived podcast series, Confessions of a Female Founder, has picked up 2 honours in the annual Signal Awards for podcasting. So despite being really a flop, Meghan's podcast picked up 2 nods at the Signal Awards, and Confessions won a Gold Award in the Business People and Entrepreneurs Shaping Culture category of the Signal Awards, which aims to recognise meaningful podcasts. Surely there's some backlash to this decision.
Think so.
But were you surprised? What did you make of it?
Well, I do feel that Meghan's building this empire of perception. It's not actually what the talent is. It's more like, you know, the smoke and mirrors. I think she's very good at that. And I don't know how involved she was in the entry or who the other contenders were. I do feel a bit sorry for them, because no doubt there would have been probably some pretty talented people doing some podcasts, and sort of Meghan steamed in and won. But, you know, it's a show that flopped. It vanished pretty quickly. So the fact that it's won the award, I think, sort of highlights what type of award that is, I would feel.
I mean, the podcast title itself, Confessions of a Female Founder, that's really what she's been so desperately trying to rebrand herself as.
She has. Yeah, but I don't remember any great, I don't remember any great tips or tricks that you could sort of pass on if you were a potential female CEO. It was all just waffle.
Oh, all waffle, 100%. Yeah. But there are reports that she's planning on moving into cosmetics. So this is part of her lifestyle brand as ever, and there are reports that she'll be trying to go down the cosmetics area. What more can you tell us about this?
Look, I would say this is probably true. I think if you want to make big money as a celebrity, you launch a makeup line, like serious money. It's not flour sprinkles or, you know, little jars of jam or the things she's sort of been tinkering around the edges with. It's the Kylie Jenners and the Rihannas of this world who've become billionaires producing their own makeup line, and there's been some Instagram posts which Meghan sort of dropped of her applying lipstick at her dressing table, and none of the labels of the products she's using are visible, which apparently, I've learned, is code in the beauty industry that she's about to launch her own sort of product. So she wants to sort of set the scene of someone who applies makeup and is a makeup expert and possibly would know how to do her face up, and has apparently also met with Chloe Marle, who's the new esteemed young editor of Vogue in New York. So she's trying to sort of, feather her nest in the makeup land. But I don't think Kylie Jenner or Rihanna have got anything to worry about for the time being.
No, I don't think they do. Louise Roberts, so wonderful to talk to you.
Good
Thank
to
you so much.
Thank you.